Hello and welcome to Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. Today, we'll meet the New Jersey company who is responsible for keeping our United States athletes fashionable at the Winter Olympics. We'll also learn how Project Self-Suffiency is helping young adults get their high school diplomas and gain valuable life skills. But first, it's February, American Heart Month, a time when the nation spotlights heart disease, the #1 killer of Americans. Joining us now to talk about how the American Heart Association is helping prevent heart disease and stroke in the Garden State is Tracy Parris-Benjamin, American Heart Association Northern New Jersey board member. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us and spreading awareness around this very important cause.
Thank you so much for having me, Lisa.
So with all this lying around and eating that we've been doing over these past couple of years, I am sure the statistics show, if not they will show, how rampant heart disease and stroke is. So let's start off with that. Talk about the COVID-19 pandemic on heart health.
Sure. So I think the reality is that COVID has impacted our lives across the board. And one of the things that is very, very shocking is the fact that the pandemic has been devastating, but heart disease continues to remain the #1 killer of women. We are seeing statistics that really indicate that 1 in 3 women have a diagnosis of heart disease. In addition to that, we know that the pandemic has impacted lifestyle tremendously. Many of us are not as active as we usually are. The pandemic has impacted wellness, people feel uncomfortable to go outside, and it has infused a lot of anxiety. So with that, we are really seeing this devastating toll on heart disease, people not wanting to go to the doctor, feeling, just feeling this pressure of taking care of themselves in the same way has just changed so much based on the impact of the mental health. So all of those things combined, you really see it's just almost like an eruption in terms of just managing your health, which is one of the primary ways to take care of your heart.
While we're on that topic, what are some quick ways that we can stay on top of this devastating yet highly preventable disease?
Well, it's interesting, honestly, to any cure or any illness, you hear the importance of exercise. Diet and exercise are key. It's important that we know our numbers, knowing what our blood pressure is, knowing what our weight is. All of those things are clear signs that we can work to prevent heart disease. We talk about reclaiming our rhythm. So simple things. For me, it's getting on the Peloton. I love working out. I love cycling. For others, it might be dancing. I'm an avid salsa dancer, and I remember feeling, I don't ever think I'll salsa again. And it's salsing in the home, turning on the music, and just movement. That's one of the most important things that you can do for your heart.
It's a very easy thing to get addicted to. So you mentioned, cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of women, causing 1 in 3 deaths each year. Why do you think women, and especially women of color, are so affected?
Well, you know what? The challenge, I think, especially for a lot of women of color, is the reality is that we don't see diverse health care professionals. And that in itself impacts the wanting to go to a doctor. There are challenges just with that alone. I think there is a perspective, especially for women and Black women as well, that we wear this cape, and that we're strong and we're the caregivers of the husband, the daughter, the son, our partners. It doesn't matter. So a lot of us end up neglecting our own health. And one of the most important things we talk about is self-care. And it's very challenging for women to think about self-care for themselves. And we really see that as one of the primary reasons why it's impacting African American women more so.
What is the American Heart Association North Jersey chapter doing over the course of Heart Month and always to raise awareness?
Well, we always, every year, we do an annual National Wear Red Day. And that actually started last week, Friday. So we kicked off last week, Friday. We have what's called our Women of Impact campaign. It's focused on getting 6 women, and it didn't have to be 6, but this year we're so pleased. We have 6 women who are committed within their own rights, whether they're in leadership capacities in their households, they're the CEOs of their homes, or they have leaderships in hospitals and other organizations, to really raise awareness, to make folks involved in getting movement in their everyday lives and understanding the prevalence of heart disease. That's one of the first things. So really, again, getting people to exercise, knowing their numbers, that's one of the primary roles. In addition to that, we are really focused on an event that's going to happen April 27th. It's going to be phenomenal. It is our annual luncheon, and it is focused on getting women together and educating ourselves, just like every other one of our campaigns. It's focused on research, which is really the basis of this work. So much of what the American Heart Association does is not just the galas, which are fantastic, and the events, but it's where the dollars go to invest into research so that not another life has to be lost to heart disease.
So with the awareness and the funds that you raise through the American Heart Association, where does that money go towards?
Well, it definitely goes to a lot of research. STEM research, we don't see enough people of color involved in STEM, which is science. And that goes back to the point I made earlier in terms of women of color. Representation matters, and it's really imperative that we see more professionals of color in the healthcare field. So a lot of the dollars goes towards efforts such as that, as well as life-saving medications. So, influencing and supporting what we see in the healthcare industry on a whole is where these dollars go. The American Heart does a lot of work that's behind the scenes, probably too many organizations for me to count, but it's really the kind of like the governing body in some regards, with education materials, with making sure that folks understand awareness as it relates to diet, nutrition, and going back to knowing your numbers. All of that information is what really solidifies the American Heart Association. And of course, continuous raising awareness. It's a national organization. I'm a board member of the Northern region, which is one aspect. But in order to resolve this and continue to make this work, really continue to solidify, these are the dollars that we need to continue to raise awareness and make sure that life-saving dollars go towards these efforts.
So you are a volunteer for AHA. What inspired you to get involved?
It's interesting. I think my involvement is almost a personal calling. Unfortunately, my husband suffered a heart attack about 8 years ago, and that was my first close realization with the heart attack. And a heart attack is not what you see on TV. It's not the grabbing of the heart and kind of like falling down. It's subtle, little things that people miss in their everyday lives. Sometimes it's the inability to sleep well. You may have sleep apnea. There may be swelling in your legs. There are a lot of little signs that we tend to ignore. We tend to just think, oh, I may be more tired than ever, but I'm really working hard. That was one of the first real inklings that I needed to do something and educate folks around me. In addition to that, unfortunately, last year, I lost my dear aunt to a stroke. So it's really a personal thing for me. And as a woman of color, I feel it's important for me to be an advocate for other women that are my sisters, my aunts, my cousins, to really educate about the importance of heart health, especially since this is something that we can actually prevent.
Tracy, thank you so much for doing such great work and being such an advocate around the Garden State. We hope to have you back here soon.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It was my pleasure.
If you watched the glitz and glam of the Winter Olympics opening ceremonies, you might have noticed how stylish Team USA looked. Their outerwear was designed by Ralph Lauren and manufactured right here in Clifton, New Jersey by Better Team USA. Joining us now to talk about this exciting collaboration is Director of Better Team USA, Martin DiBattista. Martin, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, I have to just say how fabulous the athletes all looked. Tell us about this collaboration.
Well, we had worked on the 2018 Winter Olympic jackets for Team USA in the 2018 Pyongyang Winter Olympics. Ralph Lauren selected us. We were a young company at that time. We opened up our facility in 2014, and it was a challenging time to open up a manufacturing facility in the US. My father, the founder, is a visionary who lived in China actually, and saw the opportunity where the industry was shifting, and thought that domestic manufacturing was going to be something in demand in the future. So we decided to open a facility in Clifton, New Jersey, not knowing in 2014 that we would have an opportunity to be on the world stage in 2018. And I shared the story that when we were finally told, because they vetted us for about a year and a half, when they told us that it was going to be a project of that scale, we were nervous. But in the outside, it was like, no problem, we can get it done. For 2022, it was interesting. They called us at the end of 20, and they said, are you guys still there? Right? Kind of sign of the times. A lot of companies are having problems through COVID, and some didn't make it. So we said, no, we're absolutely here. We actually pivoted during the pandemic and made medical gowns. We were making about 100,000 medical gowns per month for the frontline workers during the pandemic, and we were kind of ready for the next challenge. So when they asked us, we were 100% better prepared than 2014. Although it was challenging, COVID still threw some monkey wrenches into the planning, but we overcame all that and were able to, as you saw in the parade, all those jackets that Team USA wore came from Clifton, New Jersey.
That is a big deal. I know Governor Phil Murphy made a huge splash about it. The fact that this is manufactured in the United States, in New Jersey, because you really don't hear about that. I think it's very special, and kudos to you for navigating all the challenges, I'm sure, with supply chain shortages and shipping and all of that to get it all done.
Yeah, the magic happens when we collaborate with a brand. Ralph Lauren has been amazing. There's, we say what we do here is we're not just a factory. We're like a full service. We do from design to the blueprints, prototypes, and help a company figure out how to make technical outerwear in the US. We're lucky that their team, although Ralph Lauren's huge, they really treat us with that respect, and their design and their team, together with our technical know-how and the execution, made this possible.
How many garments did you produce?
Altogether, because we do the Olympic team and the Paralympic team, and some additional units, it's about 1,500 and 1,500 of each style.
Can you take us through the styles? I see them behind you. I want one. Because they look so warm and comfortable, but it's the Winter Olympics. You have to be warm. But tell us about the garments.
They're very much in demand. I'm getting emails because of the press release. People know that we're making them. They're Googling us, and I'm like, no, you have to go to Ralph Lauren. But on my right here is the opening ceremony. What you saw in the opening ceremony parade. Team USA had 3 colors. Sapphire Star was for the flag bearers. So this year they had co-ed flag bearers, a male and female. You saw them. They were in a sapphire blue color. Men wore the white and women wore the navy. What's interesting about this anorak is that it has a new technology. It's a new installation. They call it intelligent installation. You can visit the website to learn more about it, but basically without any like battery or anything like that, the insulation kind of expands and contracts based on the temperature, your temperature and the outside temperature. It's quite exciting technology, and it doesn't use like feathers or polyester fills or anything like that. On my left here is the closing ceremony, which is one of my favorites styles that we ever made. It's a buffalo check plaid down-filled jacket. What's interesting about this jacket is that it was one of our first bulk production orders that we used our new computerized sewing machines. So they were programmed to stitch the quilting that you see on the jacket. These machines work with a CAT system. It's new technology. We're adopting and changing here in the US, adopting new technology. We want to create the first technical outerwear smart factory here in the US. So we've implemented last year, even throughout the pandemic, we just doubled down. We added these computerized sewing machines. We've added computerized down feather injection machines to our infrastructure. We do all the development now digital. So I can show you a 3D model of your garment before we even cut any fabric. And also computerized cutting. So all the materials are laid out and cut by computer. So the challenge for domestic manufacturing is the cost of labor, right? We can't compete with overseas. So we try not to focus on that. We try to pay for the higher skilled work that demands the higher like styles, higher quality styles like this. But we tackle the process and try to use automation and technology to make it more efficient, to be competitive in the global stage for technical outerwear in the US.
When your father first started this industry, I can only imagine what the technology or lack thereof was then. So it's mind-blowing how advanced it all is and it will become.
Just before our meeting, I'm having a 3D digital fitting with a customer, so via Zoom. So everybody's not comfortable with Zoom. So I share my screen and I'm able to do a 360 up and down, inside out review of a garment, digital, before we go and make it. And it just blows my mind because I grew up in this business. It was my dream to continue my grandfather's, my father's business. And as I was a kid, I delivered garments on 7th Avenue as my summer job. And I remember being around cutting tables and seamstresses and watching my grandfather, pin things and work on paper patterns. And now with the new technology, we can do this virtual. My grandfather was born in Italy, and I actually was born in Argentina. During the war, he went to Buenos Aires, and then came to New York. So when I was born, my father was traveling back and forth, and finally stayed here in America in 1980. I became a U.S. citizen in 2000. Always lived in New Jersey. From Hudson County. I graduated from Memorial High School. Went to St. Peter's College in New Jersey.
What a beautiful story. I mean, a story of immigrating to America and making it so big. And now your work is continuously now at this point on a worldwide scale. So where can people find out more about you?
Well, definitely can visit betterteamusa.com, our website. We're so busy that I have to update some of the new information that belongs to our company, our press, all the fun stuff that we've been doing. We're focused on obviously made in USA and ethical manufacturing, but also sustainable. We want to be friendly to the environment. So we're looking at building a technical down jacket that's all recycled, for all recycled materials. So the inside, the outside, the feathers are all recycled, the zippers are all recycled, something that we can make to leave a positive impact on the environment for my kids and my grandkids, and do our part if possible.
I'm so happy that Governor Murphy's press release brought us together because I otherwise wouldn't have known. And I think a lot of people wouldn't have known about this great work happening in Clifton, New Jersey. So thank you so much, Martin.
Thank you for having me. It's been really exciting. I appreciate you giving me the chance to share our story.
The New Jersey Youth Corps at Project Self-Suffiency helps high school dropouts ages 16 to 25 get high school diplomas, weekly stipends, training, and so much more. Joining us now to talk about the wonderful work of this organization is Kyersten Gieger. Kirsten, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
Please expand on Project Self-Sufficiency's mission.
Project Self-Suffiency is a nonprofit located in Sussex County, right in Newton, and we serve individuals and families who are looking to move towards self-sufficiency through gaining employment, education, and meeting different goals throughout their lives for where they're at currently.
Why is it so important to your organization that these students get their high school diplomas?
This is so important because education is really the foundation to someone being able to move forward with their career and educational goals. And obtaining their diploma is the first step to their long-term goals around employment and education.
What is the difference between high school diploma and GED?
The difference is that the high school diploma that they earn here at Project Self-Suffiency through New Jersey Youth Corps is very similar to the high school diploma that a student would earn from their typical high school. And so GED is just a dated term at this point. And GED, you can still obtain your GED, but most of our local areas in New Jersey have switched over to taking a different test called the High Set, which allows someone to earn their high school diploma from the state of New Jersey.
So students can come to your headquarters in Newton, New Jersey to obtain their high school diploma. What's the difference between the services you're providing versus a regular school environment?
The biggest difference for our program is that we are a much smaller setting, and we are located in a facility inside Project Self-Suffiency where we have a lot of wraparound services. So not only are the students just receiving academics, they're also receiving supportive counseling. They have access, and their families have access to all the other services here, including case management, home visitation, food pantry assistance, and then we also continue to work on an individual basis with the students on their needs and their goals.
How are students referred to you?
So we receive referrals. Our number one referral source is through word of mouth. So most of our students come to us because they've heard from other students how successful they were in the program or other parents. We also have a wonderful relationship with our local area high schools who also refer students to us. We have gone out to meet with parents and guidance counselors at schools to discuss our program as an option. And we also receive referrals through an online inquiry system also.
How do students successfully complete the program?
So a student would attend our program for 16 weeks, and they would have to meet an attendance requirement, and then they would earn a completion certificate from completing New Jersey Youth Corps. And once they pass all of their sub-tests for the high set test, that test is what allows them to earn their actual high school diploma.
And who is teaching them? Are they teachers by trade?
We have staff and volunteers. We always say we could never run our program without the wonderful teacher volunteers that we have come here every day to help our students. And their backgrounds are all different subjects in teaching, as well as we have a retired guidance counselor. So different types of community members coming together to make sure that we can help further the education for our young adults.
Kirsten, how do you get funds to continue this mission?
So the New Jersey Youth Corps is a legislative mandate, and this is a program that's been in place for 35 years, and it is funded through the New Jersey Department of Workforce and Development.
What other programs does Project Self-Suffiency run?
Project Self-Suffiency has a whole host of wraparound services here, including case management, home visitation. We have a full career center. We have health and wellness education programs. We have a fully staffed and fully functioning childcare center on our campus, which also provides supports for our students if they need that. We have a mobile office that goes out, which is called Journey, that supports individuals who may not be able to get to our office, as well as emergency basic need and other advocacy programs for children and parents.
So I know a very important part of this is the transportation piece, because you're getting students from large parts of the state. So how do they get to you?
So we provide transportation to our students, which is really a huge benefit to our program. And so when the students register through the interview process, we explore their transportation options. And if they don't have access to transportation, we're able to provide that to them.
And then how do you get them involved within the community outside of the classroom?
So through community service, we have the opportunity to jump on projects here at Project Self-Sufficiency and outside of our campus in the community. And the community service piece really helps bring out those work skills, and that we focus on building the concrete work skills through different projects that could be outdoor projects, maintenance, landscaping, and we've also done interior work as far as painting, and also office work, packing food pantry. So there's really no limit to what our community service entails.
Where can people find out more about Project Self-Sufficiency?
So anyone interested in our program can log on to our website, which is projectselfsufficiency.org, and click New Jersey Youth Corps, and they could fill out an interested form right there, which will come right to me. You can also call our office at 973-940-3500 and inquire about the New Jersey Youth Corps program. And our next group is starting on March 7th. And so we are actively interviewing right now for that cohort.
Kirsten, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us on.
Thank you for joining me on Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. We'll see you back here next week.